Brahmacharya Dandi Sarva Vedanta Pandita Srimad Viveka Yogi Mam Prachodayadu Sarvada. Once Swamiji was in Almora or somewhere there. He was sitting under a banyan tree and meditating. Suddenly he got up and told his colleague who was with him, I think it was Swami Akhandananda, to him he said, "Brother, I have got a great revelation today. I have discovered that the macrocosm and the microcosm work on the same plan. It's a wonderful revelation. The more and more I think about it, the more and more its implications become clear to me." So that is what happens in all Hindu traditions, combining the Vyashti with the Samashti. The individual is not different from the whole. Vyashti and Samashti are made on the same plan. Vyashti can just fit into the Samashti. And the more and more we learn to make ourselves part of the Samashti, to that extent all our pettiness, smallness, ignorance and happiness, everything will disappear. Because the whole is Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. It's always full, Satchidananda Swarupa. So, whether it is in Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, it is this journey from the small to the big. From Swamiji used to say, from lower truth to the higher truth. So, when we are learning to expand like this, then we feel like serving the whole of humanity, whole of the universe. Nobody is a stranger to us anymore. So service becomes a part of our being. We are always happy when we are serving the Lord in the Samashti. So that sort of a elevation, expansion is what bhakti also should ultimately lead to. So in this connection, Swamiji reminds us that our bhakti is based on principles and not on persons. Our allegiance is to the principles always and not to the persons. Persons are but the embodiments, the illustrations of the principles. If the principles are there, the persons will come by the thousands and millions. If the principle is safe, persons like Buddha will be born by the hundreds and thousands. If we examine the history of our Sanatana Dharma, we will find there were so many avatars, incarnations and other things, all upholding the same principle, Satya, Dharma. So, this sort of a absorption of the whole unto oneself, we must be able to do to bhakti also. In many cases, what happens is, when the person is lost, then slowly the allegiance to that principle which was present in the form of a person diminishes by and by, and there is a possibility that over centuries probably that belief or faith or religion may shrink in size. Whereas for us, the Satya Satyam Param Dhimahi, as we have seen in the first talks. Satya and Dharma being the cardinal principles, all the other incarnations and gurus were representing those principles. We owed allegiance to them when they were alive, but their departure from the scene of action did not interfere with our surrender to the ideas. So, again, standing before the Vigraha, we should absorb the Vigraha all right in mind, but go beyond the idol to the ideas. Ideas are the most important, so we should not forget that. Because if the principle is lost and forgotten and the whole of national life tries to cling around a so-called historical person, and suppose that history of that person is not validated, then we are at a loss to know what to do. So, Swamiji gives great emphasis on this part of our religious understanding, that our bhakti also should be based on principles and not on person. Then, as we have seen, the more and more we try to absorb the wholeness, the samashti into our mind, automatically there is a self-surrender. Very naturally, you feel you are only a part of the whole, and that's of a surrender comes. The bhakta wishes to realize that one generalized abstract person, in loving whom he can love the whole universe. So, when we talk of Krishna, we want to see the Vishwarupa of Krishna. That is why Krishna is all the more important to us, because he represents not Vasudeva Krishna, but he represents the Parabrahma Krishna. So, the total has to be reflected in the ideal, in the person whom we worship. So this sort of a understanding is very necessary as we climb up the steps of the bhakti. We are almost coming to the end of our understanding of the bhakti. So we should also understand God is the samashti, and this visible uniform universe is God differentiated and made manifest. So as a result of that, our capacity to love should not be centered in one person, but it should spread out to the whole of humanity. Our love should expand and make us one with the universe. That sort of a understanding is necessary. So when we start absorbing this universal awareness unto us, it is then that the life becomes really, truly blessed, Swamiji says. Why should I love everyone? He asks a question. Why should I love everyone? Because they and I are one. See? They and I are one. There is no bheda bhava. There is this oneness, this solidarity of the whole universe, from the lowest worm that crawls under our feet to the highest beings that ever lived. All have various bodies, but one soul. That is a typical Hindu way of understanding life. Through all mouths you eat, through all hands you work, through all eyes you see. You enjoy health in millions of bodies. You are suffering from disease in millions of bodies. When this idea comes and we realize it, feel it, then all the misery will cease. When Sri Ramakrishna was sick, the disciples used to request him, why don't you ask Mother to give you the capacity to take food and digest food? So he laughingly told them, I asked Mother, but she said, aren't you eating through the mouths of all your disciples? And I felt very sorry that I asked her that question. So, to see oneself reflected in everything, what a blessedness it will be, isn't it? Your mind will always be in an exhilaration. Wherever you find happiness, wherever you find somebody extolling God, whenever you see a temple, anything like that, we feel immediately one with it. So that capacity for our mind to expand, crossing the barriers of individuality, barriers of Veshti, that is what we have to aspire for. I am He, I am the Self in the universe. I am eternally blessed, eternally free. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, Shivoham Shivoham. Asangoham, Asangoham. Shankaracharya Swamigal used to recite in so many ways this particular aspect. So also our great Ramana Maharshi, all our teachers, they all taught us, don't confine yourself to this small body, mind, intellect as you are, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so. But come out of it and embrace the whole universe. So that is the way to blessedness.